Hey everyone, and welcome back to Ideanthro for part 2 of our discussion looking at how you prioritise the maintenance of different types of stormwater treatment systems. Now in part 1 we looked at how you prioritise maintenance of different types of bioretention systems, and in this discussion we're going to be looking at what happens when you have different types involved. Specifically, what happens when you have a civil type of stormwater treatment system, like for example this coarse sediment forebay here, and then when you have a vegetated type of stormwater treatment system, like this bioretention system. What does that mean for how you prioritise maintenance? And of course, by prioritising maintenance, what we mean is you've got many assets to maintain, you don't have quite all the money, and you have to make decisions about where you spend your money. Now, before I go on, I'll say this. This video, I have chosen to make at this particular time because I've recently written an article for the Stormwater Australia Bulletin. I believe it's going to appear in the February edition. By the time this gets up online, it might not quite be out yet, but it will be really soon. And I was really excited by the opportunity to write that article. But here's the thing, right? A bunch of what I describe in the article, and I'm about to share with you here, it helps if we've got some visuals in front, and that's why I've made this video. So thanks to Stormwater Australia for the opportunity to write an article for the Bulletin, and I hope this video adds some value. Okay, let's get into it. So, in part 1 of this series looking at prioritising systems, as I said, we looked at how to prioritise maintenance of different bioretention systems. And the big takeaway from that was, you spend your money keeping the good condition systems good first, and then you look at spending money at rectifying systems, at fixing them up. And that will give you the best bang for your buck, because it's a lot cheaper to keep systems good than it is to fix them. So how does this apply to a situation where we might have multiple systems? We're going to simplify this today, because what we have in front is this coarse sediment forebay with a trash rack and a bioretention system. So we're going to pretend that we have a bunch of assets to look after, and they're all either bioretention systems or coarse sediment forebays with trash racks on them, right? Now in reality, those two normally happen together, so this is a little bit of an artificial distinction. But you could imagine that the coarse sediment forebay with the trash rack here is a surrogate for any other civil kind of stormwater treatment infrastructure, like for example a gross pollutant trap, an underground system like that. Anyway, so what happens here? So I've been having discussions recently. This video is also prompted by some chats that I've had recently with different people that have made me think about this for the first time, really. What happens if you have one bucket of money, you're responsible for managing a bunch of different assets that are either the civil types or the green infrastructure types? How do we choose where to spend money first? Should we be looking after, say, all the bioretention systems first and then spending any leftover money on the sediment forebays? Or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe we look after the forebays first because they're really straightforward. You just, come along, dig out that sediment, remove that litter, and you're on your way. Maybe we should look after those first and forget about these more complex, these more dynamic living systems over here, because they're just too hard. Well, in my opinion, the key to this comes back to exactly the same thing that we talked about in part 1 with the bioretention systems, and that was this: bioretention systems, they'll serve you really, really well if you look after them, right? And they can be really resilient, and you can do certain things to their designs that will mean that they are really resilient, and you don't have to do heaps of maintenance as long as you're doing just a little bit regularly, right? But if you let them go, they can get away from you and decline, and you can just have to spend a bunch of money fixing them up. Now, it doesn't happen overnight. You've got to let them go for a while. So if you get distracted, don't get to a system this week, and you get to it in a couple of weeks' time, it'll probably be fine, right? If you leave it for a year or 2 years or something, you might have problems. So I was thinking about this. Imagine a situation where we have, let's just say it's 2 assets. One of them is a bioretention, one of them is a coarse sediment forebay. And we have budget to maintain both of them. So of course, we're going to look after them both proactively, going to set up a regular schedule, we're going to clean them out regularly. Now imagine that for some reason, your budget gets cut, and you only have the money to look after one of them. You know that you're going to get the money back next year. It's only a temporary cut, right? The money's been diverted to something else. You know that next year you're going to get the money back. So you want to be in the best situation you can be come next year to have your assets functioning into the future. Which one do you stop maintaining? Because you've only got part of the money now. You've only got money for one of them. Which one do you stop maintaining? Have a think about that for a second. Okay. You could go one of two ways. Let's talk them both through. Let's see what happens if you stop maintaining the bioretention system. So what happens there is you don't look after the bioretention system regularly. You don't come in and do the weeding, which is a big part of the regular maintenance. You don't remove the litter that you can see over there. And so some weeds get into it over time. The weeds get in and they start to compete with the desirable vegetation. Because even though this system's full of water today, because it was raining earlier, and this system doesn't drain very quickly, you can see that there's plants to a fair bit of it, but there's some gaps where there aren't plants over there, right? And so some weeds get into those gaps, and then they start to crawl through the rest of the plants, and they start to take over. And then at some point, you have to come back. So next year, right, you come back to it, and you have to spend a whole bunch of money removing all those weeds, maybe doing some replanting. It costs a fair bit more, right? And then this year, you just remove the sediment from the coarse sediment forebay, you remove the litter from the trash racks like you always would, and you go about your business. So, this year you spend a fine amount of money on the trash rack, and then next year you also spend a fine amount of money on the trash rack and the forebay, but you have to spend heaps on the bioretention system, right? Now let's consider the other way around. Let's consider that in the first year you decide not to maintain the trash rack here and the sediment forebay, and you instead just look after the bioretention system. Well, the bioretention system, you just keep doing your normal regular maintenance that you've always done, and you keep it in good condition. So you spend a little bit of money this year, and that's cool. You let the coarse sediment forebay go, and it fills up, right? And it probably fills up to the brim, more than you see it happening here now. And when that happens, the water just spills over the top of the trash rack there. You can see that the concrete off to the side here, it forms a weir like such when it blocks up. So the water that's coming out of this pipe here, it's not going to block and cause any massive issues. It'll spill over the top of the trash rack. Now we'd want to be careful, right? This is touch and go on this system, right? So we come around here and we realise that the level of the top of the trash rack there is pretty close to the level where the concrete kind of weir ends here, right? So there is a bit of a risk if we don't maintain this, that it could block up through here, get a big storm event. You might find that water short circuits around the edge here and starts to erode. Now clearly that hasn't happened yet. So this system's pretty resilient, right? So you just don't maintain it this year. You come back next year, it's pretty full, and you just clean it out. There's no extra cost involved with that, right? It doesn't get worse because you didn't maintain it. It's going to be a bit fuller, you're going to have a bit more material to remove, but it's not like the other situation where the bioretention system fundamentally started to decline in condition, right? And so this is it. This is at the heart of it. If you have this decision to make and you have some civil type stormwater treatment systems, some green types, and you don't have the money for all of them, keep the green stuff good. This will save you money in the long term. It'll maximize the benefits that we get, right? Because this asset delivers stormwater treatment, but it also looks really nice. It's habitat for microorganisms, not just microorganisms, like organisms of all types. I saw, there's a butterfly flying through right now. I saw something else, another insect of sorts, fly through before. I saw some beautiful dragonflies at a system just yesterday. Hey, there's a cute butterfly going there. You probably can't see it. It was quite far away. But the point is, the bioretention system delivers a whole bunch of benefits. We keep it in good condition. We spend a little bit of money on it, as we do with regular maintenance, but it rewards us with its ongoing function. In this year where we're short of money, we don't maintain the coarse sediment forebay, and sure, it doesn't provide such a good function that year. But next year when we've got the money back, we can still come in and clean it out. It'll still be just as functional as it ever was from then on in without us having to spend heaps more money. And that's the basis of it. We minimise our long-term costs and maximise our bang for our buck. Sweet, that's it. That was part 2 of prioritising maintenance of stormwater treatment assets. Now something I want to say, and something that I have written into the Stormwater Australia article that prompted this, right, is typically, say for councils, right, my background's in council, typically we've got a bit more experience looking after the civil stormwater treatment systems, right? We've had them for longer, we've had more time to practice on them and this sort of thing. So we are taking learnings, really actively, taking learnings from the asset management space that we've applied to the civil stuff in the past and to roads and to rail and to every other sort of asset, right? And we're taking those learnings and applying them to the vegetated stormwater assets. And that's a great thing, right? We don't need to reinvent the wheel, but we do need to be aware that there's some nuances that are going to change when we start to bring in these natural systems. We shouldn't pick up everything in its entirety, holus bolus, but we should pick up as much as we can and just keep an eye out for the fact that there might be the odd thing that's a little bit different, and this is one of them, right? This is that little bit of a change, that little something that you have to be aware of, which is you've got to keep the green stuff good and it will reward you for it. If you don't, it'll punish you. Sweet, that's it for now. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Ideanthro. I hope that you found this interesting. If you've got thoughts or comments or you want to get involved in the conversation, you got something to add. Maybe you've got particular experience looking after this sort of thing, something you want to add, get in touch, right? We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to share those ideas through these videos so everyone can learn from them, everyone can benefit and build on those ideas, and we get better and better and better at delivering this sort of stuff. So if you do want to get in touch with us, there's a few ways you can find us. You can find us online at ideanthro.com. You can sign up for the mailing list at the bottom of the page. You can go to the connect page and we've got our email address if you want to shoot us a line, tell us about something. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ideanthro, and you can find all our videos on YouTube, and you can leave a comment under the videos and have a bit of a chat there. Sweet, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, have a good one. See ya.